Phillips.
Y'all need to help Stephen Phillips out over there. Out the door and off the radio.
Here's Stephen Phillips.
Well, I walk into the room.
Now we're walking in the room. Y'all see there if you're watching on the YouTube. We have got Rob Moyer in filling in for Pat Malone. He had to lay back out again.
He's always laying out for something.
How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you,
You
Steve?
look good. Yeah, you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, you look good. Yeah, we got that. And we got Packy's in here with us. Good morning, Packy.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm well, sir.
Hey, I got a retract. Let's see if I can find it here somewhere. I've got all this stuff going on, but I got a retract from yesterday. We were talking about the people that registered for the city of Hiawassee. Nobody run against Junior Chastain, so there was nobody that is challenging him for the mayor. So I guess he's going to be the big kahuna up there.
It's not too late to write you in, Stephen.
I don't want no part of that. If I was elected the mayor, I'd shut the place down.
Just shut it down.
I
Just
would.
doge the whole city.
I would just do away with the city. I would just say, oh, that's enough.
Well, that lake, there ain't going to be much of a city. I've been chomping at the bit to talk about that.
Yeah, well, we can get to that. And then also we talked about yesterday, Pat Malone said the guy that actually, and I'm trying to find it. I've got the text here somewhere. We're getting all kinds of trouble with the guy that actually has signed up to run for the city council. Pat Malone said he's the guy that had the dragon. The dragon. That's not right. He is not the guy that had the dragon. He's building some houses up on Whiskey Mountain. And for those that don't know where Whiskey Mountain's at, that's up there behind the bank there in town across from the square. And but anyway, he is he did something with building the casino over in Murphy. But other than that, I don't know anything about him.
Stephen, don't you hate having to always correct everything, Pat? All the misinformation that Pat.
Well, he said that, and I run with it, man. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah,
you got to be careful with Pat. He'll get you in trouble. All that stuff.
I don't think that dragon dude could win even running unopposed.
Well, I don't know.
So it's probably a good thing it's not him.
Morning, deplorables. I like that. Oh, that's right with us. Yep. So, but that's been so now we got that out. So nobody's running against the mayor. So that, and that's the thing. And ain't nobody can tell me. And I ask very educated people. Okay, Rob, you're a very educated person. Why do we need a city?
It's a really good question. It's such a small city. Just folded into the county, you could probably save a lot of money.
Hey, we got two cities in the small county of towns. Two cities: the city of Young Harris and the city of Hiawassee.
Well, Young Harris is. I mean, it's hard to call that a city. And
it's a city.
I know it is legally. Yeah.
Why don't you run for it, old buddy, old pal, old buddy? I can't run for the city, but there's stuff that just burns you up about cities. It's like, okay, I can't vote in the city. Okay. But if I've got a business in the city, I still can't vote in the city.
You should be able to.
If I got land in the city, I still can't vote in the city. And then the city does all the sewer in the county.
Yeah, because I owned the yacht club for 5 years, and I had to use that sewer, and I couldn't vote. I had no say over what happened in the city.
Right.
And that's why the lake thing has got me all twisted up, man. 8 years without that marina at the ridges floating. That'll decimate any business on that lake, and it'll spread it out across the city. And it's one thing if it's like a 1 year, okay, it's not a good year to go to Hiawassee. But if you scratch it off the to-do list for 8 years, people won't come back. It'll take you forever to build that
What
business
can we do,
back.
Steve? What can we make out of there? Be like some mudding track or something?
There you go, a mud pit.
Yeah, we could.
Four-wheeling mud pit.
Now you talking, Packy.
Mud pit monster truck.
That's
I've been
a good
hanging out
idea.
with you long enough. It's rubbing off on
Look
me.
at that. He's smart. He's smart. He's thinking around outside the box. What are we going to do? I still think we ought to be in the Redneck Olympics to Towns County. That would be awesome. And then especially with the lake down.
What are you doing in the Redneck
People
Olympics?
tuning in though. What are you talking about? Like tell them if they don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
Redneck Olympics?
No, with the lake being drawn down.
Okay, they're talking about they've actually got a spillway that out in California that flooded that went away. Okay, they had to do the use the spillway, and when they did it washed out, they had to evacuate 250,000 people. So when that happened, they started looking at all their other lakes across the country, and they come up with the possibility that the Chautauqua Dam lake, the spillway, has an issue that could possibly wash away and have people to have to, evacuate or possibly have a problem. Only if they use it for flood. How many times we use that thing for flood in my lifetime? I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 or 10.
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Not a lot.
Right, not a lot. So anyway, they're talking about is draining the lake down to 1903 level. Now that would be the 1903, not 1903 level. It wasn't here then. So that would be 10 foot below what you're okay in the wintertime when they draw the lake down in the wintertime, which makes no sense to me why they do that. Nobody can tell me that either. Why they say
Because the
flood.
oysters have got to have water in Apalachicola Bay, Florida.
Well,
That's
I'm
where
just
it goes.
saying, okay, there you go. You got that. So the low level they do in the wintertime, it'll be 10 foot below that. Now that will be 10 foot down, not out. So when you take 10 foot of lake level straight down, that goes way out. So there's a lot of places around the area. I mean, like up where the school is, all that'll be drained down. It'll be nothing but a river there. On Sunnyside over there, you've got the marina over there. It'll be on dry land. You're talking about the ridges down there where you had your boat thing. The lake will be, you'll be able to see it, but it'll be way out.
Way out.
Yeah.
None of those boats will be able to come to the marina.
But now here's the thing that we and of course, Pat Malone, he can't explain good common sense to Pat. I mean, I guess I don't understand it, but anyway, that lake in California that actually did, wash away that there and they repaired that thing in 2 off seasons. Okay, so there is off seasons out there. They drain the lake in the wintertime just like they do here, and they fill it back up in the summertime, and they fix that thing in 2 seasons, and it is the biggest dam in the world, I guess, in the United States. And then they're talking 8 years.
8
over here.
years. Why?
Well, okay, so we got one of our callers called in, and he worked for Georgia Power. He said he's thinking that maybe they want to upgrade the dam and maybe put in new generators because the generator they got is old and it don't produce a whole lot of electricity. So maybe he said that could be a theory that they're wanting to go in there and do
But
that.
man, you can move a lot of dirt in 8 years. I mean, come
It's
on,
not
that's
dirt.
a
It'd be
long
concrete.
time.
It'd be
Well, even
concrete.
concrete.
And it's just the spillway what they're talking
It didn't
about.
take 8 years to build Hoover Dam, did it? I mean, 3. Okay, there you go.
3 years.
Hoover Dam. That's the biggest dam in the world.
But now here's your problem with this. Okay, TVA is government owned, right?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay, there's your problem. But I need to say anything else.
No, you're right.
Because if it was me and you and that was our livelihood right there, and we were, we were like, we got to get this thing done. We got to get this thing done now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's bring in the best and the greatest and all that. But I've got a video on that, and y'all can go on there. I can't remember. Let me see if I can find it somewhere. Y'all can go watch that where it talks about how they went ahead and fixed that dam out there. But it's pretty interesting.
Well, I'm just telling you, as a past business owner that relied on the tourists, that will kill every business in Hiawassee. At the restaurants, the shops.
Hayesville too. You got
Hayesville too. That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, forget it. And it'll even impact Blairsville because a lot of people come up here and they spend a couple days in Hiawassee and they drive over to Blairsville for the day and go to the Hole in the Wall or wherever for lunch. And that ain't going to happen, guys. This is a big deal.
Well, you got people that's got weekend houses here too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they come in for the weekend. And I'd be like, well, there's no sense to go to Hiawassee. The lake.
No.
Yeah.
And guess who those people are? Money people, the ones that have a lot of money and they spend a lot of money.
Something though. See, we have the US secret weapon, Stephen, that you're forgetting about.
Oh yeah, the murals.
That's
got
right.
the murals.
Got the
Oh,
murals.
yeah.
So
We do have that.
I would say that people would still continue to come to see the murals.
Yeah, maybe so, Packy.
If y'all want to write this down, rebuilding the Orville Dam spillways. Rebuilding the Orville Dam spillways. You can go and watch that on YouTube. It explains everything how they did that, and you can see the difference in their dam and our dam and how much smaller ours is. So, what they need to do is get a bunch of rednecks out there and say, "Hey, we need to fix this thing." And they'll be like, "Hey, no problem, man. Bring some duct tape. We need a little duct tape."
Well, I think Packy had it right the other day. Wasn't you, Packy? Said Flex Seal.
Yeah, so
I'm
like that.
That dude can make a boat out of Flex Seal.
Or
That's
Flex
good enough for
Seal
me.
tape.
Tape,
You know,
Flex
I've
Seal
seen.
tape.
Have you ever seen them do that with the fish tank?
Yeah.
That fish tank is leaking like crazy, bro, and they just like slap that stuff on there, and it's like,
Or he made a
stops.
boat. Have you seen
And
him
they
in the
cut the
boat?
boat in two.
Yeah,
In
they
a
cut the
John
boat
boat.
in two?
Yeah.
You got out there and done all that.
So that's
That's
got to
why-
work.
Yeah. It is serious. We're kind of cutting up about that, but I'm trying to figure out when the meeting that they're going to have is, and I mean, we don't need to go up there with pitchforks, you know what I'm saying? But
Almost do.
yeah, we need to.
just torches.
But yeah, but anyway, and just to let them explain. Of course, now here's another thing. Pat's got that guy coming on. I'm trying to find his name. Packy's supposed to find his name on his little show with Harry.
You
And
gonna
we
let
want him
Harry
on
talk
this-
to him?
We want him on this show. We want him on this show with me, and we want Rob here that day, and that way people, we got people constantly sending us messages on the Facebook chat, or not Facebook, but YouTube chat. We can ask questions that comes across that, and really get down to it.
I mean, where's your?
Yeah.
I mean, I just wonder if you'll see. I mean, there hasn't been enough time really to do anything, but I mean, you would think the Chamber of Commerce's would just be.
You'd think they'd be all over
You
this.
think they'd be losing it? I mean,
They should.
Yeah, I mean,
and all the people that I employed as many as 65 people at any given time in the summer.
Right.
And that's a lot of jobs, and a lot of single moms, supported their kids working as a waitress at the yacht club.
Well,
And those jobs will go bye-bye, fellas. I mean,
we're
that's
gonna have
just
to
one
have
little restaurant.
I guess I'm gonna have to have one of them government subsidized houses they're talking about building.
You're gonna have to, yeah.
I'll move in.
Maybe that's the plan to get the workforce housing put in,
Okay,
Stephen.
wait a minute.
It's a conspiracy.
Just hold on your horses right there.
You
Okay,
just figured it out.
No, I have been. I'm a conspiracy theorist. We just had all the floods that happened up in Western North Carolina. Okay.
Yeah.
And we know why that is. They're wanting all that property when they get all that stuff. Right? I mean, all that.
Of course.
Minerals.
Yeah.
And then we had the fires burning. There's more. The fires are burning in that same area up through there. So there's more they're trying to get rid of.
Yeah.
Now they're going to drain our lake down here, and they're going to get rid of us. There's something in these mountains. There's something in these Blue Ridge Mountains that the government wants. I'm telling you.
I heard a long time ago that these Blue Ridge Mountains were full of gold, and it was the country's savings account.
Maybe
of last resort.
Gold was discovered here before it was in California.
That's right. I heard Cooper's Creek Wildlife Management. All that is just chock full of gold.
Dahlonega.
And Dahlonega, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Dahlonega.
Some people still paying for gold down there.
Gold in these here hills.
Hills.
I'm gonna buy me a shovel. I'm gonna go golden.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one of them golden retrievers and see if I can fetch it, boy. Fetch it.
Sniff it out.
Sniff it. Sniff it. Sniff it.
Tell me where to dig, boy.
Oh Lord, I can't keep up. Are you keeping up with the comments, Packy?
I'm trying to. Just a lot of stuff about having a dirt track and riding the sides of the lake out there when it's drained down.
I'm
Rebel
with you.
Boy. And if Stephen Packy asked people would understand better. Brad Alwan, we are currently looking for anybody that wants to become a professional painter. Give me a call.
A professional painter. They got the painters got the jokes like the plumbers do,
I don't know, like butt crack, like plumber's butt crack.
Poop runs downhill, and the boss is,
Yeah.
Well, Brad said if this happens, it's everybody's, if this happens and everything starts shutting down, then everybody's just have to learn how to do a new job, right?
Yeah, we ain't gonna have no jobs because they send tariffs in. We'll talk about that. We're supposed to have Andrew Clyde calling today, right? Ain't today Andrew Clyde Day?
Yes, it is. Hopefully.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully we'll have Andrew Clyde calling in. So anyway, let's jump to a quick break, folks, and we'll see during the break we can get Packy catch up on all these comments going on. All righty, we're back with you, and we're going to break it anytime when Congressman Clyde calls in. We can get him on as long as we possibly can, but I love X. I do. I love X. I follow all these people on X. Johnny Midnight posted, in case you were wondering how your tax dollars are being spent with Zelensky over there, he just purchased a 51% stake in one of the biggest platinum mining companies in South Africa. And this is for the sum of $1.6 billion. Reckon where he got his money. Oh, your tax money at work. Don't you love it?
Well, I guess, he figures Trump's going to take all the minerals out of Ukraine, so he's got to go find some for himself.
Maybe you're right. I don't know. But anyway, so everybody's discussing the tariffs. Oh, the tariffs are bad. The tariffs are bad. They're good. No, they're good. They're bad. At this point, I can't tell no difference. Be honest with you.
Well, it is hurting anybody with a 401k, but it's only one part of the picture, man. I wish they had done the tax breaks at the same time, because if they all of a sudden, you're going to have no tax on tips, you're going to have no tax on Social Security, everybody's going to get a tax break. That'll offset some of this pain and suffering, and give it a year or so, and this economy is going to be in full gear.
Okay, so we got all the Democrats whining. Okay,
of course
they're mad. They're mad. Okay. Yeah. So, like I said, I love X. I follow a guy by the name of, I'm not even sure he's a guy, but anyway, Wall Street Apes. That's what he's called.
Yeah.
Okay. In 1996, Nancy Pelosi encouraged all of Congress to back.
She did.
Yes. In 2008, Bernie Sanders wanted it.
Hey, listen, that's on video of them on the floor of the House and the Senate.
2018, Barack Obama calls for tariffs.
Yeah.
Yes. And now we got Trump in there, says, I'll get her done. Boy, they're mad about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're mad about that.
They didn't do it.
Well, they had an opportunity to do it.
They did. They were too afraid.
But now these tariffs, okay, the stock market's crashing. The stock market's crashing. I'm kind of the guy in the middle. It's not good to be in the middle because we're all of us middle class people. We the one shoveling the crap for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, if the stock market is, I don't know how that's going to affect me. I'll be honest with you because, I still just do what I can do to make a living.
There's all these different arguments, and I was listening to Eric Erickson yesterday, and he was telling us how smart he was. And
of course,
he was going on and on about just the fact that Trump is making all this stuff up, and these countries actually, if you look at it technically, they're not paying this and they're not paying this. They don't have this amount of tariffs on us, and all these technicalities. But what nobody is talking about is the fact that I don't even know anymore. How much are we in debt? How much is this
almost $37 trillion.
Right, and the whole show was about how we really are the richest country.
We're not. We're the poorest.
We're
country.
the poorest country,
Yeah.
and that's what people aren't talking about.
Our credit cards are maxed out.
We have twice the amount of debt of China, and they are number 2.
Right,
and we have more debt than any country in the world. A lot of that we owe to China,
about 12 trillion.
And so, what happens when you just keep, eventually you're going to default on that, right, Rob? I mean,
Yes.
you're a financial person more than I am. Okay, you're going to default on that. What happens when you do that?
The whole world economy will collapse.
Right. So what is
just
that?
Us?
Why? Because the dollar will fail, right?
The dollar will be worthless.
Because and that's what's happening over time. It just keeps happening.
So
it's depreciating the currency.
Just look at Germany. You got into a stage called hyperinflation, which Joe Biden had us knocking on the door of. Okay.
Oh, man.
And hyperinflation was so bad in the Weimar Republic before World War II that people would actually go into work in the morning. Okay. I'm making the numbers up because I don't know, but the percentages are right. And so the gas to get to work was $3 a gallon when you left your house. It was $6 a gallon on the way home. Tomorrow morning, it was $9 a gallon going to work. On the way home, it was $12. Businesses had to start paying their employees in meat and clothes because the Deutschmark was toilet paper. It was worth nothing more
that's
than
what
toilet
happened
paper.
in Venezuela. There's money flowing around in the streets everywhere, and a ply of toilet paper was worth more than their largest bill of currency.
Yeah, that's right. So we are headed down that road. Now, President, I think there's two things going on here. I think big picture. Okay, we're knocking on that door closer than anybody wants to admit. If the president came out and said that, his staff is kind of hinting at it. Elon has hinted at it. Right. But if Trump came out and flat out said that, then the stock market would drop in half overnight in fear. Okay, so he can't say it. And then number two is we have got the real prospect of going to war with China in the next decade, and we can't make a missile here.
We can't produce
anything. We can't produce anything. We can't computers, phones, steel.
But people, I thought we, taught people like Pat and people, like Eric Erickson, that kind of people. They will just say, "Well, no, you're not making that kind of stuff. It's umbrellas and your drinks and things like that." Well, that's not.
No, every chip is made in Taiwan.
I know, and that's where the military technology.
And guess what? Every missile uses a chip. They use GPS chips and targeting chips and all kinds of chips, right? The military relies on GPS to go anywhere now.
But the point I'm trying to make, though, is like all this doom and gloom that they're talking about, and they're acting like it's Trump's fault that we're $40 trillion in debt. And to be fair, you hang on, you could say that in certain ways of stimulus packages and stuff that maybe he did add a lot.
Contributed.
He contributed to the debt.
Y'all are missing something here, though. Y'all are missing.
But he didn't do all this.
No,
this is a bargaining chip. This is a huge bargaining chip.
Oh yeah.
And these folks that we have got these tariffs, they're coming to the table already. And they're wanting to negotiate. Wait a minute, this ain't working out.
Yeah, the next 60 days will be nothing but negotiations.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because this is a whole world problem. I mean,
it is a whole world
our
problem.
Stock market crashing. Right. It's the whole world.
No, because the whole world uses the dollar as the standard currency. Right. So if it becomes toilet paper,
crashes.
No.
If the currency becomes so
and China wants to step right in with the I probably can never pronounce it right, yuan, to become the new international standard currency, right? So we're in a fix, man, and all this Doge stuff. I mean, we had to cut it in half. There's no time for a scalpel. It's so massive. Cutting a toenail off of the Jolly Green Giant is not going to bring him down. You got to start whacking off arms and legs.
Well, maybe
I love your analogies.
You
always make up these cool analogies.
Maybe we should go with the Democrat scenario way to do things, and that's to make I've got it here they prefer to tax the rich, so we need to raise
there's not enough money.
We need to tax the rich, and that'll solve everything.
You could tax the rich at 100% and it wouldn't put a dent in it.
And don't forget, tariffs is the reason we had the depression, right?
No.
It's not. Tariffs is what brought us out of it.
I was about to say that's what they did after the depression.
Yeah right.
So that brought us out of the depression. So that's kind of a eye opener, is it not?
But he did take the world and turn it upside down on its head. There's no doubt about that, right?
But it needed.
But it
turned
needed.
upside
That's
down.
right. And there's going to be some challenges. There's going to be some pain.
Well, people say they make fun of it and they say, well, like, there's what you voted for. I'm like, hell yeah, that's what we voted for.
Yeah, that's right.
Here's the difference. Okay, I understand I'm gonna have to be maybe possibly paying a little more for something for a few days. Okay, I don't think it's gonna be long term. Other than in Biden administration, I knew there was no end in sight. There was no end in sight. Egg prices are going up, gas prices are going. There was no end in sight. At least with these tariffs and the negotiations that's going to be going on with the other countries, there's end in sight. There's negotiations in sight, and it's going to get better, and it's going to be better at the end. And as Trump said, we're going to be rich. We're going to be very rich. We're going to be so rich, we don't know what to do with
when
our
it
money.
comes to the stocks, Rob, when in doubt, zoom out, baby. That's what they say.
I was going to ask you,
look at a bigger graph.
I want to know what Nancy Pelosi's portfolio is doing. I was wondering if you're keeping up to date on that
I
today.
bet she's angry. I bet she's.
I bet she's really angry. Yeah.
Okay, let's grab another break right quick, and hopefully Andrew Clyde be calling in. Maybe he'll do it during the break because I want to get as much in as we can with him. So let's jump to a quick break. All righty, folks. As we planned, we have got Congressman Andrew Clyde calling us all the way from Washington D.C., the dark state. How are you this morning?
Well, good morning. I'm great, thank you. How y'all doing?
We're loving it, man. We're down here talking about all these tariffs. We got everybody upset about the tariffs. We're all for them. We're like, the stock market crashed. We're poor. We can't tell. We don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not poor, Andrew. It's Rob Moyer. I care.
Well, you're poor now.
I'm poor now. I wasn't a couple days ago. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, hey, if it's one thing that people have to understand about the stock market, it goes up and down, and it goes up and down, and it continues to go up and down. All right. The stock market is strong, and these tariffs, I think, will be very effective in accomplishing what the president has in mind to do. And that is to bring manufacturing back to the United States and to bring some parity to tariffs worldwide. We have been the punching bag, the financial punching bag of the world for a very long time.
Yep.
And and it's time to level the playing field and for other countries to start coughing up the money that they charge us. I mean, if you saw the chart that President Trump put out, our reciprocal tariffs are most of the time only about 50% about what the rest of the world has been charging us. Now there's complete parity with some countries. All right. But I'm going to give President Trump, the benefit of the doubt here,
right,
because he has used tariffs before in his first administration, and they were incredibly effective. And I think that this time he's going to leverage our economy compared to the world a little stronger. And I think he's going to be extremely effective. And it's going to take a little bit of time. It always does. But I'm going to give the president some credit here for what he did in the past. And I think that our country is going to be much better off for it in the future.
Well, one of the things that bugs me, they're like, oh, we got car parts. So we got these car parts coming in. They're going to be taxed. Everything's going up, and it's just terrible. How many small companies in America that are struggling that can make these car parts right here, but they can't compete because of the tariffs and all the cheap parts coming in from China? And now I think it kind of levels the playing field. And I think we're going to see some U.S. companies that are just dying to expand, jump in and take over. I mean, when something goes away, somebody else fills the hole. Do they not? I mean, it's always been that way.
They do. That's the beauty of a free market, that we can do that, and it will increase jobs and it will increase profitability here in the United States. So I'm looking at this as a very, very positive thing for the country. It might be a little painful initially.
Right.
As the market kind of reorganizes itself. But I think in the long run, and that long run, I don't think will be too far off, a few months off. I mean, it's been not even 48 hours.
Tell me really quick. I got a question really fast. Let's talk about that word free trade for just a minute. That's a word that gets thrown around a lot. And I have a couple questions about that. Free trade. It's hard to really have free trade with people who, let's take, for example, we have a minimum wage here, right? Now in China, do they? And
no.
I'm not smart enough to do the comparisons of this currency and blah blah blah. But it seems like they say they don't have slave labor, but there's a lot of evidence that they actually do with some of the Turks and the Muslims who live there. Blah blah blah.
And the kids, don't forget
the kids. But How do you compete with that? I mean, is that free trade? I mean, you could say that it's not fair trade, but I don't think it's free trade either, is it?
Well, what I mean is free trade, where the government does not manipulate its currency.
Sure, and that's another one.
It is. I mean, if they can do that, all right, then they can gain a worldwide advantage, and that's simply not acceptable. So therefore, we use tariffs to balance that out, and that's one of the ways that that makes it effective.
And we talk a lot about, experts all the time. And so, well, the experts say this and the financial analysts say this, but it's the same people who have gotten us to what, 40 something trillion dollars in debt.
Yeah.
So we need to try something different, don't you think? I mean,
Andrew, isn't part of this too? We were talking right before you came on that it's really a national defense issue in that, all of our missiles today use computer chips, and tanks and airplanes need steel and aluminum. And we got to the point where if we go to war with someone like China in the next 5 to 10 years, we cannot rebuild our arsenal because half of it comes from where? Right across the strait from China, right?
You are exactly correct. It is a national security issue because when we, anytime that there's a worldwide conflict and we end up being involved in it, you have a certain supply chain. And being a Navy supply officer, I understand this incredibly well. So you have pre-positioned supplies around the world. Specifically, we have a very large amount of them in Diego Garcia, a little island in the middle of the Indian Ocean. But once those supplies are exhausted, then you have to be relying on your supply chain going back. Right. If we don't have the manufacturing capability here in the United States to take up the slack, to fill in those holes, then we've got a serious time problem. The time it takes to actually recreate those manufacturing abilities. That was one of the reasons why we won in World War II, because we had a tremendous manufacturing base here in the United States that the rest of the world didn't take into account. All right. And so when Japan invaded Hawaii, and they took out a certain amount of our fleet, we were able to quickly rebuild what was destroyed or replace what was destroyed. Right. And because we had that manufacturing ability here in the United States, the mining ability to mine the steel and the aluminum, the manufacturing to put it into place, all of that sort of thing, which is one of the reasons why we're bringing chip manufacturing back to the United States. Right. That is still critically important for national security to have that. Otherwise, other countries can hold us hostage. And that's a bad place to be.
Congressman, you got to fix ships. I mean, China's outbuilding us, 300 to 2 or something like that?
Yeah. Yes, that's a great example.
And that next war is going to be in the Pacific, and we're going to need lots of ships.
Mm-hmm. Well, yep. And so we need to bring that manufacturing capability back to the United States.
But here's the difference between their ships and our ships. Their ships are junk, man.
They're not anymore. That's not right.
Are you kidding?
No,
they get it from TV.
They've stolen they've stolen our technology, guys. You're not right. They are 90%.
Well, hey, but you did bring up a really good point there too. Stolen technology.
Yeah, I mean, it's stolen technology.
And I'm not picking on what you said about free trade. Andrew. I'm agreeing with you, but that's not free trade. If they can steal our technology, we can't do that as Americans. If we start a company, we can't just go and just like steal somebody's trademarked. Right. But they can. They can. And they get away with it. So that's not free trade.
It's not.
Well, you're absolutely right. Which is why the tariffs are so important. They make up for some of that imbalance. You're right. They do steal our technology. Right. All right. In fact, the drones that come in from China that we buy, how many electronic pieces of equipment or commodities that they sell to us actually send back information to China? We have found a tremendous number of products that China makes that we buy that sends information back to China. That's one of the reasons TikTok is not on my phone. Right. Will never be on my phone, and I will never use it.
Amen.
All they got to do is send a balloon over here, and it'll float for 2 weeks.
That's another example right there. Yeah. Of stealing or taking information and sending it back to China to disadvantage us, whether it's economically, whether it's militarily. They're going to do it, and they've gotten very good at it too.
Yeah. Hey, Congressman, let me shift gears on you real quick, Stephen, if you don't mind.
Well, depending on where you're going with this, right?
Well, I want to know, all these books are coming out now about who really was running the White House in the last 4 years. And that is such a blatant violation of the Constitution, and just a smack in the face to the American people. What are you guys going to do? Are you going to form a committee, a special prosecutor? Are you going to look into who ran that auto pen in the White House?
Well, I'm very confident that Pam Bondi will get to the bottom of that,
Yes.
because you're right. When you don't have the president actually making those decisions, the guy that the people elected making those decisions, you have other people making them, using the auto pen to sign it, then you truly do not have a representative government. You have tyranny. You have people in the background making those decisions.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
It's tyranny. You just said it.
And while you're looking into that Booker, the guy, what's his name? Booker,
Cory Booker.
Cory Booker spoke for what, 24 and a half hours?
25. How many depends did he go through? I want
Y'all need to do a blood test on him. There's no way he did that without being on cocaine. I'm just telling you.
Well,
no way.
If you saw some of the clips of him speaking, some of it was just bizarre, incredibly bizarre.
Hey, Andrew, we got a problem down here in our little county. I don't know if this is something you can help us with or not, but we've got the TVA.
Oh, yeah.
Is going to look at doing some maintenance on the spillway of Lake Chattooga. And they're talking about dropping the lake level to the 1903 level, which will be 10 foot below what the winter level is for 8 years. They're talking about doing this for 8 years. Now, the economic impact on this area with the lake being drawn down to a mud puddle, and I'm talking, this is major draining for 8 years. Man, we need you to look in on that. We need all the help we can get.
Well, I had not heard of that.
Right.
And no one has brought that to my attention. So Tennessee Valley Authority definitely has some federal impact there.
Right.
So that's absolutely, that's something that we can look into.
Please do, because that's going to decimate our economy up here.
They
Andrew.
had the one out in California they're judging this by, the one that washed away. I keep forgetting the name of it, Oracle Dam or whatever it was. And it actually washed away. They had to, I know you know what I'm talking about, and they had to evacuate 250,000 people. They repaired that thing in 2 off seasons. They did it in 2 off seasons, and they're talking 8 years draining of this dam here. They built the dam in 8 months in 1940. So, I mean, it don't make a whole lot of sense to me, but yeah, I wanted to, everybody says we need to get Andrew Clyde on this. So if you would, I'm sure you can find out all you can. They're supposed to be having a town meeting here for long, and I can send you a text, let you know when that's going to be, if you want to get in on that.
Please do.
Because
send me all the information you got,
yeah.
and let's see what we can dig into. And
yeah,
and I will tell you this: one of the differences between 1940 and today is regulation.
Well, you're right about that.
And what it takes. I mean, they built the Pentagon, literally the entire Pentagon. I was there yesterday morning with the Secretary of Defense and the Speaker of the House, and we had great discussions on funding and what the military needed moving forward, because I'm on both appropriations and budget.
Right.
So I spent about an hour and a half with the with the Defense Secretary Hegseth and Speaker Johnson and about 8 other members of Congress. But it is so critical. All right, to stay informed of what's exactly going on, so you can make the right decisions.
Yeah, I know, and a lot of red tape, man. It seems like the people that make the red tape have no idea what they're talking about, but they come up with all these regulations and all this nonsense that has nothing to do with it. And the poor old guy out here working is having to go by it trying to make a living. And some of the regulations they come out with it has nothing to do with anything other than just you can't, don't, stop, and all that good stuff.
Well, a lot of them are environmental, and just like President Trump said, in his first term, I think he was cutting 2 or 3 regulations for every new regulation, and this time he said that wasn't enough. Right. We need to be cutting more regulations, and they built the Pentagon in a year, literally. During World War II, what an amazing building that was.
Right.
You couldn't even get the permit in a year today.
Yeah.
So that might be one of the reasons there that, but maybe that sort of stuff needs to be waived.
There you go. I'm with you on that.
So that is definitely something that can be looked into.
Yeah. What else you got? Anything else you need to tell us, man? We don't want to miss out.
There is. I want to explain proxy voting a little bit to y'all and
Okay.
why I am 100% against it. We had a battle on Tuesday on proxy voting, and
Right.
Representative Luna from Florida, she brought a measure to the floor through what's called a discharge petition. Basically, if you get 218 or more votes on a discharge petition, then it will immediately come to the floor. Well, immediately is kind of relative. And she got all the Democrats on this, and she got a number of Republicans, so that the number went over 218. I think there were 12 Republicans on the discharge petition. And it was to allow proxy voting for certain members of Congress, new mothers and new fathers. And we're like, excuse me, proxy voting, which means that you can sit at home and you can vote. All right. That doesn't work. The Constitution requires that you Congress, that you assemble, that you be there in person, so that we have a quorum.
Right.
And it's disingenuous to think that you can sit at home and vote, all right, and not be part and be part of the process. You are not part of the process. We have committee hearings, we have caucus meetings, we have face-to-face meetings with Democrats that you can't do if you proxy vote. Anyway, they took down the rule that allowed two incredibly good pieces of legislation. One was the No Rogue Rulings Act, which would have limited district judges to their decisions to only district and not nationwide injunctions. All right, that was one. And then the other one was the SAVE Act, which would have eliminated anyone from the voting rolls that is not a United States citizen, and it would have made you show government-issued ID that you are a citizen in order to register to vote. So two very important pieces of legislation, and the rule was taken down by 9 members of Congress who, I guess, thought that proxy voting was more important than President Trump's agenda. So, and it was disgraceful. It was shameful. It was selfish, in my opinion.
Right.
And we're going to stop it.
So, Andrew, just to help people at home understand about proxy voting. So, when you guys have a really contentious bill that's hanging by a thread by 1 or 2 votes, how much deal making back and forth is going on the 10 minutes before the vote is called?
Oh, my word. A ton of it happens on the floor of the House.
Right.
I mean, you'll see little groups congregating going, and we know that when you look at communication, only 30% of it is verbal. 70% of it is nonverbal. You cannot have that kind of communications over the phone. It just doesn't work. When you have a really serious issue, you've got to be face to face with someone else. We're human beings. I mean, we have emotions. We have, just being able to look someone else in the eye is so important.
Right.
Businessmen, excuse me, across our district fully understand when there's a critical piece of business, you got to be face to face with somebody.
No doubt.
I'm with you.
I mean, Maxine Waters could stay home. We don't really have to look at her, I guess. But
we let Pat zoom in and look.
We can make one exception for somebody to stay
We
home.
let Pat zoom in and look how that works out.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That's the thing, though. I mean, when you're on the phone, you're big and bad and tough, but when you're face to face, eye to eye, it kind of brings everything front and center. I'm with you on that 100%.
It makes a really big difference. I mean, how many people are email warriors? Okay, but when it's face to face, it's
right.
that presentation is not there.
Yep. I'm with you 100%. Well, we've got to go, man. I wish I would get you to call every day, but I know you're busy up there. Yep.
Hey, we still want to know about the aliens, Andrew. Release all that stuff, will you?
I want to know if Elon Musk is really going away. Tell me it's fake news. Tell me Elon's staying with us.
Well, that's up to Elon. I'll tell you that, but I will let you know that the president wants Elon there, I think, as long as he possibly can. Elon's focus is to help rescue our country.
Right.
And there's a lot of other very wealthy men that have decided that they're going to give of their time and of their expertise. And they're not wealthy because they're dumb. Okay. They're wealthy because they're very intelligent, very smart, and understand a lot of things very quickly. I met one of them yesterday, the Assistant Secretary of Defense.
Yeah.
An incredible man. Mm-hmm. And but he said, I've been very, very blessed in this country. It's time to give back. That's exactly what Elon Musk is doing right now.
These guys
He's
are patriots. They are true
Amen.
patriots. Yep.
True
right,
patriot.
man. We appreciate you. I'll send you some information that I can, we got on that and on
Yeah,
the.
please do.
Yep, and we do appreciate you. We love you, man. We support you 100%, and we got all kinds of comments here. People commenting that they appreciate you and they love you. So hey, stay in there.
Thank you. Always great to be on WJRB.
All right, man. You take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
And now back to the morning dish.
All righty, we're back with you, and I'm gonna tell you something. I appreciate Andrew Clyde, but one thing that just really bugs me, and I just thought about it during the break, with all this going on with the draining of the lake for 8 years, and Andrew Clyde is our congressman, and he did not know anything about it. Why has any of our local officials that we elect to take care of stuff like this, why have they not contacted him?
That's horrible that he just learned from some dumb radio show hosts.
I mean, honestly,
Really?
I mean, come on, y'all.
Wait a minute.
You would,
That was an insult.
why would I mean? If that'd be the first guy I'd call.
Of course.
I mean, and nobody has contacted him, so that really just kind of lets you down, out of your sales. So, but anyway,
Hey,
he's gonna find out about it now because I got Rob Moyer on, man.
I'm on it. Hey, man, Wednesday night, go see Paws and Pours to support the animal shelter at Living Winery. Kim and Curtis Jones are jamming. You don't want to miss that.
All righty, hey, all you misfits out there said, see you Monday, misfits. We'll see all you misfits out there Monday morning. We'll be back.
Kim Dwyer's going to be my bodyguard, Steven.
Really?
Yeah.
I got Rebel Boy. I'm getting Rebel Boy.
I want a bodyguard.
I think Kim could take Rebel Boy. I don't know.
You need a body first there.
Wow. Thanks.